thank you very much for accepting this interview. I am doing this interview in view of my doctoral research with the theme YouTube as a specific form of new evangelization and communication of faith. That is a theme. Hopefully to find out some results, how we can go about using this social media site called YouTube for our new evangelization, communication of faith. To begin with, what do you think about YouTube in general? What is your opinion on that?
Well, thanks for interviewing me, and maybe I'm not the most person indicated to answer well, because yes, YouTube is an extraordinary means of communication without any doubt. Images and direct speaking and music, there's a lot. And I appreciate YouTube as an information media very, very much. But I'm not so present and don't necessarily follow very often things on YouTube.
Now, I think very recent years it has come and it has made a revolution in the history of humanity. According to me, it has created a lot of changes in the society because of YouTube. The way of life has changed in many places. What do you think the changes that it has brought, the YouTube has brought in this humanity?
Well, those that have access to YouTube, obviously it has brought them closer, or has allowed many people of different parts of the world to know more about each other and to discover many things that they are interested in, new things. But of course, there are also many people that are excluded from this possibility. And so I think in some ways we are talking about part of the world population. Maybe those that have access to internet, not everybody does. And those that have access to the latest means of technologies, which allows people to be up to date with the latest programs that are around. But in general, it's all very positive, because there is nothing better than to be expressing oneself and able to listen to others.
Good. There are very many positive about YouTube. It's true. And I would like to go deeper, a little more about your own YouTube channel. You have a channel for your country to promote the message of the Holy Father.
Yes,
You tell
right.
tell us something about your own YouTube, when it has started, and what are the mission that you are doing using this YouTube channel.
Well, I am part of the Lithuanian program of Vatican Radio, which is now Vatican News. And the Lithuanian program has been around for many years. It's one of the 10 oldest language programs of Vatican Radio. We celebrated 80 years recently. So we have a tradition of informing people, especially trying to overcome various problems of allowing people to receive information. With YouTube, well, when this era of giving video news was already around, we were very on the very start of Vatican Radio producing short video messages of the Holy Father, 1 minute, 1.5 minute clips of his audiences, his masses, his Angelus prayers, and things similar to that, or his journeys. And we at the Lithuanian program understood that our listeners, or the people we are trying to reach with the Holy Father's message, are already receiving lots of other news through YouTube and in other means as well, but on video. That it's a realistic world through which we can speak and reach people. So we decided very early on that we would like to have our own profile, and in the beginning there was not much agreement to allow us to do this, but the Italian program already had their own profile, and then I'm not sure who was next, but we were on the Lithuanian program very early on. There are 8 or 9 YouTube profiles of Vatican News. One is Vatican Radio, the others are English, French, German maybe, one Chinese, Spanish. I'm not sure of all of the others. But Lithuanian is one of them, and we're very proud because very early, we understood that people come to Rome to see the Holy Father, but now we can show them. They can see us through YouTube.
That's true. Already a part of answer has come for my next question.
Oh, okay.
One is congratulations that you started this mission very early with the Vatican Radio, and I want to know what motivated you to begin a YouTube channel. There was a radio, Vatican Radio, and through that you were passing on the message of the Holy Father. But suddenly you come to this field. What motivated to enter into this field of YouTube?
Well, after Vatican Radio, which was just transmissions, broadcasting, we started a new era with the web page. So we were printing news, and people were able to read our news, and this news was reprinted in the local press to some extent, especially the Catholic press, on internet. But then we realized that there's so much happening in the world that is going only through images, YouTube, especially in those early days. And that if we want to be in the main stream of the current of the news passing on, we as the Pope's broadcaster have to be there with the Pope's message, with our Christian message, the evangelization that is done in other means as well, radio and the text. Now with images. It wasn't easy because we weren't able to produce our own video clips. We used the Italian clips and Lithuanianized them with translations.
Good. After listening to this response, the motivation you have started to give with images to present yourself more effectively. Can you say in this moment we have achieved our goal of starting a YouTube channel?
Not at all. It's very difficult because our program is a very minor program with only a few people. We would need to engage more people working with us to have possibility of expanding in this field. And we don't have that. We would like to do videos of our own so that we decide ourselves which expressions or parts of speeches of the Holy Father or of events in the Church that we would like to present. But that means putting all of our time into other things. We have our radio program, which is very important. It's rebroadcast in Lithuania. We do publish our texts with photographs in the portal, in the web page. So we certainly have not expanded in a way that we could maximize the use of video images with YouTube or even on Facebook. What we do now is present the Pope's messages or video messages or his prayers of intentions or even extracts from his sermons and meetings and audiences that have already been produced by the editors at the Italian program. Okay. And we just adapt them to our own needs. Since we don't have the time, what is being done now is that short video images of the Holy Father's activity are produced a minute and a half with music, okay, with no message, okay, practically, which sometimes even the music isn't very well adapted, and we can cause some damage to ourselves in doing things like that. But I think one thing is talking about our Lithuanian program, but in general, the objectives at the Vatican News, at Vatican Radio, have not been achieved yet. There is much work to be done. there would be much to invest in this field. Much too little has been done so far.
That's true. That's true. We have very well accepted the reality, and we hope we can do more on using this social media site called YouTube. Now, whether we have achieved or not, but we'll be knowing the benefits of the YouTube. Can you enumerate one or two benefits that you have had for your language, for your country, because of this YouTube channel?
This is an extremely difficult question because we don't have real statistics apart from that about how many people have clicked on the video or have seen it. We do know that some themes are more important or interesting to our viewers, our listeners, than others. But it's always extremely difficult to access and decide what are the themes that would allow more people joining in. We have our audience, which is not very large. The country is very, very small. It's only just over 2 million people. It is predominantly a Catholic country, but it's also in many ways a post-Catholic country with secularization that has eroded a lot of the traditional Catholic way of life and thinking. So we do have objectives, but we cannot reach them very easily. We don't know who the people are that are watching us. We don't interact with them. We produce a video which is a stagnant thing, and we're not being able to react to reaction which doesn't arrive. So our videos are accepted. We know that people are watching them, but we also realize that we would need a larger body of people administrating this to be able to do it better.
That's true. So there is benefits certainly because of the YouTube channel that we accept. Of course, we don't have the statistics.
Certainly.
But now, to go into deeper, what are the challenges that you find in running a Catholic YouTube channel?
Well, I've mentioned some of these things already, I think. But, the challenges are probably the themes that suit this particular time of the life of the church, life of the world, and the objectives of evangelization at the present time. Time passes quickly, young generations grow up quickly, technology is expanding in super fast ways. How do we catch up with the people that are looking for us or hoping to hear something from us? So it's extremely difficult. I would say we would actually probably need an editorial board which is just for YouTube.
That's true. That's true. It's well said, and it's a very great challenge for not only for you, for everybody who run the YouTube channel, especially to focus on the theme, which is very, very relevant to the people and the life of the people. That's true. And with all these difficulties and the little bit of satisfaction that we had because of the YouTube channel, do you think we can do the pastoral ministry using this YouTube channel?
Yes, of course. I've noticed that this is done by some parishes, some dioceses, and just like any interaction on YouTube on any other theme, political, cultural, social, economical, the same can be done most certainly also by the church at all levels, and it would be good if this was done from Rome itself, because there is a unifying message that comes from Rome which would be very, very helpful. But this is something that could be done in a way by the other dicasteries that are part of the helpers and collaborators of the Holy Father, and that is the Dicastery of Evangelization, which and others as well. But of course, when we talk about pastoral work, catechesis, and other things similar on YouTube, well, it always means that we're talking to somebody. So it's an event. It's what we're doing is then focused on a certain group or on a certain nation or on a certain cultural area. And the Universal Church cannot do that very easily because people in Durban will be seeing things differently from people in Manila.
Yes.
Just as an example, the church is different. The life of the church has different challenges. From Europe to South America, we have to understand this better, and to relay the gospel message through pastoral work on YouTube, well, of course, it's a challenge, and it's a nice challenge, but I think it should be done more in a local level. Then it would make sense, because you are talking to an audience that understands you.
That's true. Very well said about the pastoral mission, and especially it has to concentrate on the locality, and we have to focus according to the culture of the people, the pastoral mission. That's very well said. And my next question is very closely related to the previous one. We are doing pastoral ministry, of course. What for? No, that is to communicate our own faith. The life comes through our pastoral mission, and it has to reach the goal. The ultimate goal of our life, of our pastoral ministry, is to communicate our own faith. Do you think we can also communicate the faith of our faith using this social media site called YouTube?
Certainly we can, but I would say that probably we can encourage that questions of faith in some ways very individual, especially in this day and age, and this is something that could be done much better in a direct interaction of who is responsible with the people that are interested in the message. Relaying it on social media or video media or radio media, television media, well, it always will have a certain distance between who is preaching and who is being preached to.
That's true. Good. Then, to some extent, it's very clear that we can communicate, but depending on the one who is preaching and the one who is to be preached. Well said. Now, I would like to listen to some of the suggestions that you are that you can give to others, based on your own cultural background and your own experience with this YouTube for many years. Of course, you are involved partially. What are the suggestions that you are giving to do pastoral ministry using this social media site called YouTube?
Well, for me personally, it's not an easy question because, as I mentioned, we are not producing active material. We're not interacting with the receivers. That's something that should be exploited much more, and as I mentioned, probably much better well done on a local level. But of course, relaying the major themes and discussing these things, religious questions, philosophical existential questions, questions regarding the mystical part of our faith and the social part of our faith, all of this can be discussed on YouTube without any problem. But then it would have to be done in groups. Some discussion between maybe people that are not experts on that theme with people that are, and having a lively interaction. Something that would be not too long to get bored and not too short
Sure.
to not get interested.
That's true.
And of course, that can be done, should be done. That's a media that should be developed. But of course, the traditional way of seeing pastoral work and catechetical work and evangelization in the local level, all of this, I believe, can be transported on a YouTube media thing, and probably would be very successful.
Well said. Thank you for the suggestions too. And now, another important challenge that we face. This is a challenge for everybody. The fake news that are entering into this field called social media. It is too much, and that is one of the biggest challenge to face this fake news, and how to avoid, how to eliminate such false messages. Instead, we need to preach the truth and the right thing. What do you think about this problem called fake news in the YouTube channels? And is there any way to control or to avoid or to overcome this problem?
I'm not sure how that can be done, because people choose what they want to see, and they go to see what they enjoy, and without necessarily a critical opinion about what I'm looking at or what the message is that is being fed to me. It's much easier, and to follow a message that you can understand perfectly well. You almost listen and watch what you want said to you and shown to you. So if there is incorrectness in some ways of fake news, false news, lies being spread, and you don't know about it, so your criteria have to be polished up a little bit. And that's, of course, a big, big challenge. So I would imagine that one way of doing it is counter-attacking with discussions, by picking up certain themes that have been faked in the news, even on YouTube, and just relaying what the background of all of this is, and maybe what the reasons for that were, to understand better. That's extremely important for our Christian faith, probably for all faiths, but especially the Christian faith, because like never before we have so many different opinions about what our faith is. And as one friend told me sometime recently, is that we probably never had so much situations of schismatic situations in the church as now, because every group and even individuals all believe they can think in what they want. And it's totally wrong, and that's something to do with the truth. And the truth is also something to do with denouncing fake news. So that's possible, but that has to be discussed and expressed. YouTube probably is a very good medium for doing that, I would imagine, because you can not only talk, you can show, you can liven up the discussion with images and with film, and well, I think there is a very, very large possibility that this could be done. But once again, the questions of truth and untruth can be seen in very different shadows and lights, depending on cultural background and social situation, and but it's another challenge. We have to deal with this, most certainly.
That's true. It's beautifully expressed. This there is a problem. It's a greater challenge, and you also said there is a greater possibility also to overcome this through our own discussions. And you have said very well. We can show it. Not only we can discuss, we can also lively through our points the
Most
truth.
certainly.
So it's a beautiful response. Hope it will be a great help, also an encouragement for people who are going to do this mission. And finally, we have come to a conclusion for this interview. But before we conclude, I would like to listen to your own suggestions for people who want to begin a YouTube channel. For example, individuals, a priest, a religious nun, or even our own lay people. We are doing we are living in a participatory church, and we are doing collaborative ministry and mission for people who want to begin a new YouTube channel with our own Catholic taste and faith. What are the suggestions that you give?
Well, as with most initiatives, I think this requires a vision, and being faith people, being active members of our communities, of our church, and interacting with the faithful that make part of our church, we can always discern what questions are those that could be of more interest, and then take that upon a way of doing something concrete. Now, I wouldn't be able to say which themes, or I think that's contingent to what the situation is where you're doing it. But there is a need for some courage to come out and express yourself in a certain way. But it's also important not to be too enthused to lose the right track. Collaboration is also, I think, necessary. Probably the better thing would be to have YouTubers, others that are already involved in evangelization and like profiles that talk about or express spiritual themes, faith themes, and themes about the life of the church, of the local community, of the local problems, the local challenges, to bring them together and have others that are involved in this or would like to be involved in this, and in this way to be part of something, as part of the church, as a part of a network, to not be doing it just on your own. That's also important for the enthusiasm, because you need we need help of the Spirit to help us continue on this path, because we're human, we get tired.
That's true. Very well said. And I hope certainly our own discussions, these kind of revelations will help the future church, because the church is always far for the technology, new science, and the church ever said, try to make use of all this technology. It's a gift of God. Make use of all this in order to spread the love of God in this world for this whole humanity. And today, really, I had a fruitful session with you, and hope this will not only help me for my research, this will help the church in the future.
Well, I hope so. Most certainly, it will help you. And if there is any food for thought there, well, you're welcome. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And the final thing, with your consent, shall I upload this interview in my own YouTube channel so that it will be a fruit for others also to listen?
Well, that's up to you. If you think that there's some material there that could be, or some thoughts there, or indications that could be of interest, well, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.